So, for some people that have not been familiar with and they've been living on a rock for the past few weeks, YouTube is now releasing an AI age restriction of function that's going to be released on August 13th in the United States. I'm not sure when this is going to be released in Canada, but however, this has been reportedly released already in Australia and in the UK. So what this is, it's essentially a new AI tool that's being implemented to essentially identify any users who may or may not be under the age of 18. And if you aren't at the age of 18, then they will be configuring your account to more child-friendly content, removing personalized ads, and blocking access from any form of mature content that may not be suitable for the user. Now, this could go either way, and I feel like that this is freaking bullshit in my opinion. It's really I mean, it doesn't really make any sense though the way how they given the bill. I think it's called the Child Online Protection Act. I think it's what it's called, but it doesn't make any sense because you got the COPA Act in 2020 that's supposed to be suitably doing the same thing in some aspect, but it really didn't really do anything. But anyway, they will be identifying your base, so what you watch, the categories you watch, and the longevity of those categories of what you watch. So say if you're watching like maybe Minecraft videos or something like that, if you're watching that, then they're gonna basically identify you as a child. And it doesn't matter if your date of birth has been implemented on your YouTube, which of course you'll have to consider your Google account. It doesn't matter if they're going to be doing that. They're going to be going past that stuff anyway. So you implemented that stuff for no reason. Basically, if you're watching too many child-friendly stuff, then basically they're going to be blocking access to any mature sections of that channel. So the question would be for some people is what content are we going to be able to be stuck with if this does affect your account? Say if you're going to be blocked access to mature content, say like there's going to be a bunch of curse words or stuff like that, like say AJS or basic or anything that basically that involves swearing or a lot of mature content and stuff like that. Basically, it's going to block you access to stuff that's like that that's basically not suitable for children. So this is just theory. I'm not sure exactly what this is going to be affecting what you're going to be watching in total, but if you're going to be watching like say like child-friendly stuff like what we've been doing like Minecraft videos or stuff like that, like tutorial wise or something, or if you're watching educational stuff like what I'm doing, basically watching Dave Ramsey, then it shouldn't be affecting that stuff right there, and you should have nothing to worry about if you're watching that stuff anyway. And well, if this does affect your account and it's just blocking out the stuff right there, then I guess there's not too much to worry about there. But this is going to be affecting the stuff that's going to be affecting you if you're watching like say Call of Duty or something and you're watching the child stuff at the same time as well. You're going to be blocked access from watching any of that type of content. This doesn't make sense to me in regards to this Child Online Safety Act, which whatever it's called. There's another bill that we had like 5 years ago, which was the COPA Act. I'm not sure if you guys remember that, but however, that's been implemented through YouTube and it's been implemented law-wise, and basically YouTube had no say on that stuff whatsoever. That basically it's going to block you access, not block you access, but it's going to be putting more restrictions on the content that you make and the content that you be watching. So and it kind of it basically restricts the content creators just about just kind of dub down the more mature and dark humor type of stuff right there. So so that's basically what it is. And honestly, and all of this, according to the government anyway, or maybe maybe that's YouTube saying or something. Well, no, I'm wrong. It's the government. Basically, this is just to protect children, which honestly, this to me is complete bullshit. We can talk about that a little bit later. So let's go ahead and go. What happens if? Let's go over about what to do to get past this kind of stuff. So if you've been misidentified as being under the age of 18, you will have 3 options to get past this. Either and this is all privacy stuff, so this is what makes it very controversial. So you got 3 options. You either upload your face, which is probably the least, to me is the least worrying of the most. There's upload your credit card, which is a major no-no, and you also got upload your government ID, which is also a major no-no. So I can understand if you want to do the upload your face portion. That's probably something I would do if I'm going to be doing anything. It's still a privacy risk issue, but however, I'd rather use my face than anything. I've tried using that, let's say, on the adult website, for example. I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. But however, I've tried using it on there at one point, my face at one point, and the thing about most of the time, about 75-90% of the time, actually it's 100% of the time for me anyway, is that the thing just never works. I mean, it doesn't use your face. It says unrecognized face scan, so you're gonna have to use your ID. And just so you know, I am not gonna use my ID. All right, so because number one, it has all of your information, your date of birth, your face, which has your face anyway, your face, date of birth, your license number, your freaking social security number. There's too much information on your card that is too essential to your privacy just to watch videos online. And it's a big issue. And it's a big issue because number one, what if you had hackers onto the website and then they just get a hold of this information? Essentially, once you upload your thing onto there, and that way it'll allow you to the website, it's gonna back itself up onto a separate web page, and that's gonna collect your information. Basically, third parties are gonna have access to this kind of stuff. So imagine if that website gets hacked. Basically they will have access to your personal information there, so really there'll be nothing you could do to get rid of it. Spotify is doing the exact same thing, and except for that, if they request you, say if like you're listening to something like Nickelback, the more insensitive music of Nickelback or something like that, something very inappropriately. If you listen to stuff like that, and then let's say there's even more inappropriate stuff like that. Say you're listening to stripper music or freaking heavy death metal type of stuff right there. That's more unsuitable for ages. Spotify will essentially ask you for your information for the exact same stuff. Basically, upload your face, your credit card, or your driver's license, for example. So, except for that, Spotify will not restrict you. What they will do is that if you refuse to give them the information that they request you, essentially they will block you from using the website. Even if you have a subscription for Spotify Premium or something like that, whatever the service is called, if you are basically refusing to give them your information, they will completely block access to your account, despite you paying for their services. GTA Online is doing the exact same thing. Is basically doing the exact same thing. Adult sites, well, at least one of the websites anyway is doing that. I mean, the other ones are still accessible, but I'm sure they're going to get to that eventually. Instagram is about to do it if they're not doing it already. Basically, age verification types of stuff. A lot of places, not just YouTube, a lot of places are essentially basically blocking and restricting access, and they're gonna verify that through your information, basically your ID and stuff like that. Again, this isn't about children, okay? If now for any of them insensitive Karens, they're saying that, oh, this is about the children, all right? You want to understand, I mean, the children are so insensitive. They got to be protected from this adult stuff. They got to be protected from all these graphic kind of contents. I mean, you got to think about the children. Listen, ma'am. Not that I have nothing about blocking this from the children. Look, I would love to see something that would actually benefit them and then benefit us at the same time. But you got to understand, this is reality. This is not about the children, okay? Especially when this is all happening at the same time all around the world, all right? Australia already has this issue. The UK already has this issue. The United States is already feeling this issue since last year, or say as the adult websites. Now, as far as the adult websites go, all right, I could give two craps about what happens there because I've already noticed this. And basically, for let's just say for the hub, for example, I'm not going to say the actual name because I don't want to get community guideline strike. But however, say the hub, for example, like if you try to access the website, and this is for most states anyway. I don't know if all the states have already implemented this already, but however, if you try to access the website, it's going to prompt you with a video from one of its stars telling you that the website has been blocked off, and then it's going to require you to upload your ID, face scan, and stuff like that. Basically, the exact same stuff that YouTube's doing with you, but for the site, it actually gives a suggestion. That if you have a chance to freaking get to your representatives, basically you can do device-based verifications, which that to me can go either way, but to me it'd be a lot better doing that than it is uploading your ID and stuff onto the internet. I mean, which honestly I think it's a lot better. Like you had to do a two-step verification to like access your Facebook if you haven't accessed it for a while, if you're changing your password or something. Two-step verifications is basically the way to do it. In my opinion, I think that's a better route of going than it is uploading your ID. Now, face scans, like I said, I mean that could go either way. That's still privacy of evasion, but however, to me that's less so less favorable to them as far as information wise than it is doing your whole ID or credit card stuff like that. So this whole thing has been noticed back all the way back last year, and especially like I said, the freaking adult sites has been affected as far as that. I can really do give two craps about that. I can admit to say that I will admit to say, and how do I know this? Well, I will admit to say that I do have a bit of a, let's just say, a self issue when it comes to that stuff right there. All right, I will admit that, but I'm not like direful to say, oh my god, they're gonna block it off and I'm not gonna be able to get access to it. What am I going to do? What I'm not like that. All right, there'll be times like us grown men like to get on there and stuff like that, and just to kind of get rid of this built up issue that we have, especially when you're alone. But however, I mean, I'm not to the point. Well, now if you got like grown man that's really going on there saying, oh my god, they're gonna do this, they're gonna block it off or something like that, I can understand you trying to block it off there. I can really give two craps about those sites. But when it comes to YouTube stuff that everybody gets onto, then yeah, this is gonna become a big problem. I might not be a big thing for when it comes to like protecting the adult content or something like that, but I will agree that the device-based verification would have been a much better route to do so. And yeah, I mean, but like I said, back to the point, the as far as like protecting children goes, I mean, this has nothing to do with children. This has a lot to do with the United States and a lot of other governments getting a hold of your personal information. And if it ever comes be, especially when you're going against them, they will take that information and know who you are, so that way they can help deal with the issue. So that's basically all it is. It's basically just taking your information, so that way it goes to their favor when it comes to time. Their suggestion to doing a device-based verification, like I was talking about, is basically so we can go either way. But like I said, that can go either way, but it's better than having to do your ID or credit card. So I mean, although I might not be a big thing because your phone, let's say your phone, for example, using device-based, I mean, like I said, it has personal information there anyway. Besides your personal information's on the internet anyway. You already did that when you make your accounts anyway. But I mean, it's, to me, it's better that way than it is that. So let's like back to my point. What if we had hackers that goes on the website? What if YouTube gets hacked? What if Spotify gets hacked? What if Facebook, Twitter, whatever? What if that major site gets hacked? And then they get a hold of all that information? Are we going to repeat a mass social security issue that we've had last year? We like nearly every person in the United States with social securities have already had their information stolen. Maybe even mine got stolen through a freaking hack that the freaking U.S. government was not paying attention to. Yeah, I mean, I'm not joking. Look up at Optimus's video about that. All right, they will talk to you about it. He will talk to you about that. All right, so look it up. I might even link it in the description if I remember it. But however, this video, I mean, are we going to repeat what we had that year? Are we going to repeat what we had that year? Because not only that's just our social security that we're having that they're going to be freaking stealing. They're going to have our personal address. They're going to have our real names. They're going to have our face. That they're going to have everything. All right, they will have our records. They will have our credit history. I mean, it's already becoming about it. So it's already becoming a problem, and this is just going to further the issue, especially when it comes widespread like this. So now we only have like a handful of places that's being affected. I mean, like I said, the adult sites are being affected. YouTube's getting affected. Spotify's getting affected. Instagram's about to get affected if it hasn't already. Let's see, Visa, MasterCard, they're already adding some restrictions so that way they can freaking restrict some of the access to what you're purchasing. So that's already becoming a major problem, most particularly MasterCard. So what does all this mean? Honestly, at this particular point, especially with how involved AI is in society, I don't see this going away anytime soon, or if at all. I mean, it's basically just trying to take your information, put it in their possession, and to keep you submissive and just basically in ways mess with your life. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, this shouldn't be no secret to anything. And if you think this is just a YouTube thing, I mean, no. I mean, I don't think... Now, whether YouTube is involved to this actual stuff is up for debate. But what's not up for debate is that the government is basically involved in trying to push this stuff together. I mean, basically, they don't want another revolution. They don't want their voices heard. They don't want any form of tension to go against and try to abolish the government. That's basically all it is. So that's really all it is. This ain't no secret. At least 80% of the population agrees with this kind of stuff. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, look at all the crooks in the White House. That's running in office in that place. I mean, that basically has nearly limitless power, just about. I mean, shoot. I mean, look about the Epstein list, who they claim no longer that they claim don't exist, even though we know that's BS. I mean, they're just basically covering their tracks right here. I mean, ain't none of them saints. I mean, if you rely on what happens inside the White House to basically take care of what happens in your household, then essentially you're just screwed, in my opinion. I mean, it's crazy to me that we even got to this point. I mean, I hate how that's basically, even if it means taking your personal information, blocking you from your entertainment, even if it's not doing them any harm. I mean, they'll do anything to stay on top of you. Why do you think the freaking? I think, and I think this, and I think, you know what? This is not even an I think portion. I think this is not even an I think. I don't know why I keep saying I think. I swear that's freaking ridiculous. But however, I know that they're just trying to stay on top of us. They're just taking this as an excuse because with the internet being so widespread, so involved in our lives, especially with AI. I mean, this is going to become a growing problem. I mean, in our democracy, in the market, in the market, and as far as our real life goes, especially for ones that actually try to take real life seriously, even when a lot of them isn't. I mean, it's gonna overturn. All right, we already have major issues going on. All right, we got house prices gouging, we got groceries gouging, the job market, wives of having affair on their husbands having affairs on their wives. Instead of trying to fix those kinds of issues, instead this is the kind of issues we're having. The people, the people, just innocently trying to freaking watch our stuff. I mean, whatever that might be. And now that's basically being blocked off because they want this in their interest. If we're going to rule out any possibilities that this has anything to do with children, I mean, I say very minimalistic this has something to do with children when it comes to like protecting them, because that's supposed to be a parent thing, okay? The organizations, YouTube, Facebook, Meta, Xbox, Microsoft, Sony, freaking XXX, whatever that is, they should not be responsible for what children watch online. All right, they just take that as a scapegoat so that way they can do whatever they want. Okay, it's about the children, it's about the children. You can believe that all day long, but this isn't about the children. We all know this. So I mean, it's ridiculous. To me, I mean, this country is so unorganized. It's so unorganized. I mean, they will take any freaking excuse to freaking get something passed in, and we, the freaking stupid sheep, the cattle, are gonna freaking allow this pass and freaking not even have a second thought about it. All right, or if we even have an option, because this wasn't voted in with us. I mean, this wasn't, or maybe it was, and we just didn't really hear nothing about it, or we didn't pay much attention. I mean, look, this country is freaking ridiculous. We're already in a bad place. Too many of us are freaking divided, but in many ways for me to count. We got freaking terrorists in this damn country. We got freaking illegal immigrants that's in this country freaking doing some harm. Or if some really tries to do it their way, and freaking we couldn't give them the support that they needed, especially when they get their proper documentation. I mean, we're already in a bad position right now, all right? And instead of focusing on, let's say, houses, groceries, job market, a freaking child care, freaking insurance, the immigrant issue, instead of focusing on all that, we are basically focused on handing our personal information, the proper citizens of the United States, handing their information over to organizations that we shouldn't even be giving it to. And it's not like that they are putting a gun to our head and saying like, hey, we're gonna freaking give the card, go ahead and give me your driver's license, give me your this, so that way we can be able to verify that this is you, and then you could be able to watch, let's say Breaking Bad or something like that. No. All right. They just want that stuff right there, so that way you could stay submissive to them. All right, that's all it is. All right, and unfortunately, if you look at it in a certain perspective, it's not like they're forcing you to do it. If that's what you really want to do, of course you're going to hand that to them, because so that way they could develop something and they could take it, and then you're doing it by free will. You will have free will. So it's not like they're gonna say, "Hey, you're gonna freaking do this," and then, or else you'll never see this thing ever again. You'll never see the website ever again. Which is what I initially thought. I'm sure you guys would know what I'm talking about when it comes to this privacy stuff because it's ridiculous. So, what are my thoughts on this exactly? Even though it by itself isn't going to cause any significant uproar on anything, I mean, not at least not that I can picture it. We have already been seeing things over the years. Over the years, we've already been seeing everything that's cutting off our free speech, and free of basically to build. Basically, our free will and our free speech basically be blocked off over time. Okay, we've already been seeing this over the years. Basically, little by little implementations to something bigger, and eventually, it's going to come to a point where people will just have enough of this whole thing, and they will just band together and try to abolish the whole freaking issue, like the government or something. I mean, it's gonna. I mean, I believe it's gonna get there. We have been very close. We've already been very close at one point, and honestly, with this whole protect the children kind of thing, and protect the children. I mean, it's not going to really do anything. It's not going to do anything. Honestly, I don't think it's going to really protect the children. I don't think we're going to be getting to that actual point anytime soon, especially with how we're going right now. I will give one thing to the hub. Well, like we was just talking about a little bit ago. All right, that if this is really about the children, which let's be honest, it's not, then I think we ought to do device verification based stuff. All right, I think we need to do device based verifications for basically accessing the age restriction type of stuff. I feel like we need to do this type of stuff in order to do so, instead of putting our personal information out there. Now, yes, a little bit of our personal information is in the phone anyway. I mean, that's already out there. So that to me, that's a lot safer than it is what they're suggesting. And yeah, I'd say if we until we can get a solution like that, I mean that's basically what we're gonna have to do. Personally, if we're gonna do one of the three options, if the face scan feature works, I preferably do that anyway than it is using your ID or your credit card, because that will be the worst idea you would ever do. Okay, if you're gonna do that or anything. But say if you're watching content like I am, like the younger stuff, or like say like Minecraft videos, or basically content like that, or if you're watching educational videos like I am with Dave Ramsey, or freaking learning how to code or something like that, or anything that's basically developmental type of things, and as long as those are not restricted, which I don't think they are, then you really should have nothing to worry about. But as far as like watching the edgier stuff like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Mind's Eye, or whatever it is, basically that's going to be something you have to worry about. Anything if they're going to be using one of those three options, I recommend the face anyway, even though I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I'm not saying it is. All three of the options suck, but however, I'd suggest that given your social security or your credit information onto the internet, because that's gonna really hurt you in the long run if it ever comes to that point. But however, if it's one of the three options, I'd say go with the face, but not that I'm suggesting or anything. And unless until something changes, like the device-based verification goes, I mean, so that way you can play as a substitute. I mean, until we can do that, all I can say is just take this video and take the information and basically go with it. But I hope something does change, because this shit is fucked.